but they had guardrails so you couldn't shoot each other. You know, like that guy, right, second guy, he could shoot me if there wouldn't have been a guardrail there to tip
The
his
gun
gun up.
wouldn't come down
Oh.
far enough.
Mm-hmm.
And they did, all of them had that so that you couldn't lower your gun and shoot the guy on board.
Well,
But anyway, I got the shrapnel one day and I dug it out. His torpedo assistant, he said, "Boy, this sure was bad." And I said, "Yeah, they almost got you." He said, "How do you mean?" I said, "Well, you can lay your finger in your helmet where it's creased." He passed out. The one gunner's mate was short, so he sat up on the turret and could turn it. Well, luckily he was short because they'd have cut him in two. They shot through the side of it. And they dismissed their skipper.
Did you? Well, you know, you're sitting up there on the deck area, and if you'd hit a big wave and stuff, did you have some kind of security
Yeah, no,
around your
that's-
bodies, or
No,
That's
you
what
hung
I
on to that
always
gun.
wanted to know.
you didn't?
No, you hang on to that gun.
Oh,
And as fast as they're going.
yes.
I don't know where
How
they
fast
stay
would a
on.
boat like that go?
Well, we had ours going 60 miles an hour, but it was in knots. It
Okay.
was equal to 60 miles an hour.
Mhm.
And our best competitor was going 59. We put it in dry dock and cleaned the barnacles off of it and wax it and everything to try to get faster speed. It was something to do when they're sitting there waiting for her. We went out at night. We very seldom ever go out at daytime.
Oh, and I see down at the very bottom there. Did they? It looks like a shark. Did you paint? Somebody paint that up so it looked like a shark?
teeth.
Mm-hmm. And other PT boats were painted with other things, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody had their own,
Yeah.
own thing.
Mm-hmm. See down below the
And
numbers.
those torpedoes, the original ones had tubes, and they shot them out of a tube. And ours, we took tubes off and put them on. Those are aerial torpedoes. So you just drop them over the side. They got a gyro in them. He sets the depth and the way, the direction you want them to go. And
And the
if you'd
little.
have dropped that off of there backwards, it'd have turned around and went the way you wanted it to.
Oh.
And then you had a supply of those under the
Well, we had a
deck.
tender and a base where to keep them.
You just had so many when you went out.
We could carry 4 of them. We carried 4 of them and 4 depth charges, and then the guns.
So then at night you just totally relied on your radar,
Yeah.
and that was just. And then
We made many a chases for a log in the water. We'd pick it up on the radar, and it figured it was a barge, so we'd make a run and found out it was a log. But you couldn't help it, that's what you had to do.
the little tower deal in the middle. That's
That's the radar tower.
a radar tower. Okay.
That dome is a radar up in there.
And you have some flags flying on there that.
Hey, what?
There's
flag.
flags flying on there. They are on all PT boats, or did yours have a special flag? Or?
No, well, we all had a flag on the back like that.
Yes, the American flag, but I mean up on the
But
radar.
on that staff, that's the flag, even those flags up for signals too.
Okay.
That was used in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
We were going out on patrol one night and here 2 P-38s came. Well, they shot down some planes because they both did a roll. I didn't realize how many people that our own people shot. It was friendly. They could have shot us if they thought it was a barge. That's what that Australian did. He thought it was a Japanese barge and he shot us tucking.
Your hang fire.
Yeah, the night before I came home, so when we went in that, where all those armors were, shore batteries, well, they had a hang fire in the 40 millimeter, and I was the head gunner, so I had to go back and check it, and I said, "Are you sure that it went out the barrel?" "Yeah, we're sure." So I opened the door, and here's all this powder in that I slammed that door shut, it exploded. It burned my eyebrows and eyelashes off, and my assistant was looking up the back end and got him to. Skipper says, "Are you hurt?" We said, "We're hurt so bad we can't feel it, or we're not hurt at all." So we went below deck and turned the light on and looked us over. We just got flash burns was all.
How long were you on that location, that island?
Oh gee, I don't know, close to 6 months I guess. But this island, we patrol more than, that's where our base was, but there's other islands that we had to patrol. One night we went, they got information the Jap submarine was going to surface and take some officers off of that island where we were. So we went in that up that draw, shut our motor off, laid us still in the water, so they wouldn't know we was around. The beach was black as Hades, and we stood out there like a star. I said, "Man, I don't like this at all." And after a while, it comes a canoe out, and it was a road that made the water white, and surprised everybody so bad, and the guys depressed that 40 millimeter as low as he could get it and shot. Well, I about jumped over the side. But we got underway right away, and we don't know if they're natives or Japanese or what. We shot them and killed a bunch of them. But that ruined our submarine hunt for the night. The skipper made us stand general quarters all night. But
What did you do for leisure time, I guess you'd say, or for when you were not out?
Officers had a place they could go and get their drinks and everything. We didn't. We usually strung a tarp up over on the deck, and we'd play cards or read books or whatever. Sometimes we'd go swimming or go hiking. Go hiking, you had to be careful where you went because of the Japanese.
Did you have any idea how many Japanese were on the island?
Well, that one particular island where we sank them, they had 1,000 on that one. And I think we got 45 of them or something like that on that barge.
You picked up Australian people when they counted, didn't you?
What?
You picked up some Australian
Yeah.
that they leave off to count how many were on the island, and you get in and pick them
Yeah,
up. when
see
they
these-
leave.
I don't know if you saw these pictures, but when they have, an Australian gets up in the timber and sets up a generator and stuff, and
One movie.
he watches the movement of the water and the troops, and he moves every so often so they don't locate him, because he radios out and they can pick up his beacon and they can pinpoint it. So he has to do that, and then when he does that, then he moves.
But he was counting the Japanese troops? Is that
Yeah.
usually okay? And then he would let you know how many.
And these people we put behind the lines, they would get beside these trails and dig a trench and cover up with leaves and stuff and count the soldiers they went by.
Oh my!
I said, "What if you coughed?" He says, "You're dead." I wouldn't have done that for nothing.
No! Oh my! And they were Australians, a lot of them that did that.
Well, our troops did that, but we hadn't.
Oh,
They
you-
had
okay.
Australians doing that. But
Did they usually come back out of the forest? Did you pick up most of them that
we
you
got
had
them
put
all.
in? Got them all.
Yeah. That one bunch, we just about didn't get them because the Japs found them, and they inflated their rafts and started out. They started out because they knew we was going to be there pretty shortly.
Is that where you completed your duty on that island, or were you
Yeah.
stationed somewhere else?
They were fixing to go to Lady. And one of us, either me or my assistant, had to go to school. Neither one of us wanted to go, and we said we'd both go or we'd both stay, and they wouldn't have that. They put our names in a hat. They drew it out, and they drew my name. Well, like a dummy. School was full. So they said, do you want to stay PT boats or you want to wait and go to school? And I said, I'll wait and go to school. And that was my mistake because 2 weeks later I went aboard the battleship North Carolina. It had been shot into the side, killed 35 people, and I was one of the replacements.
Hmm.
And that executive officer on there, I always had trouble with. He was going to put me on a 5/8 battery. I said, I didn't go to school. It says you went to school. I said, well, look, I had 30-day leave. You know, it isn't time for me to go to school yet. From my 30-day leave to now. So he said, well, I guess you're right. So he says, can you handle a 40? I said, I can handle a gun, but I'm not an electrician. He said, don't intend for you to handle electrical parts. You just run the gun. So I said, okay, I can do that. And we were just under the admiral's quarters. We had quad 40. We had a magazine there, and it was cool. Guys would get in there and sleep or take a nap. Well, on my day off, somebody got in there and took a nap, and apparently got rushed out because they found a blanket in there. And he was going to bust me for that, and I said, well, you can, but I'm going to contest it because I was on my day off and I had no responsibility to that magazine. All right, he said, we'll go to the headquarters and find out. Well, they had a record. I was off, so he let me go. But he constantly was trying to find something to get me on.
Mm.
But
Here's a picture of a Melville training base, Rhode Island, and
that's where we went to school.
And is that what you had on your boats then?
Well, yeah, no, because that one went in a tube, but it's like that.
Like the
Okay,
first
so-
ones I had.
Okay, these were the first ones that were on the side of the PT boats, and then it shows how big they are. But then you took them, you took yours out of this.
We took that tube off and
Tube off,
used aerial torpedoes.
Yeah.
You see, he had planes, dive bombers, and they'd have carry those torpedoes,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd drop them.
Yeah.
They got rid of as much weight as they could. They put armor piercing siding on one PT boat, and it slowed them down so much they didn't do any more.
Oh, okay.
So how long were you on the ship?
I think we told you 3 months, but it was 4 months.
Was that all longer the war was lasted after you
Yeah.
got on there? And then
Well,
where-
it was 4 months time we got out. It was 3 months. That's when we was 90 days without seeing land.
where were,
And you were where?
yeah,
Well, we were off the coast of Japan
yeah.
because when they dropped the atomic bomb, then they got men all off from all the ships and made a task force to go over and secure the island, or the mainland. That's when they wanted me to go, and I volunteered. They wouldn't let me go because I had a rate. It was taking seamen. So they come back and said, we'll take you now. I said, no, I volunteered once, I don't volunteer twice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they brought him back off of there. They was there 2 weeks, and they brought him back ashore. And they stripped him off nude. Throwed their clothes and everything over the side. And then they sprayed them like a bunch of cattle. Then they give them all clean clothes. Just, it was a protection for some kind of a disease or something you might have picked up while it's on that island. Or on the mainland. And then
You didn't actually see the bomb cloud. You weren't there.
No. No, that happened a week before. We probably could have saw it if we'd been looking for it, but we didn't know what's going on either. Then we started to go home when we got to Pearl Harbor, and they took me off of North Carolina. I said I had to go in on the West Coast. And I was there 2 weeks, and they put me on the battleship in New York. I went to the East Coast, same as North Carolina. I had a bed on the North Carolina, on the on the New York I didn't.
Mm.
Anyway, boiler broke down. We drifted for 2 weeks at sea. Well, to patch that boiler up to get us back to New York.
So if you didn't have a bed, you just had your
Oh,
bed
one
rolling.
guy kept jumping out of it. He had a bed, but I slept down on the deck. He
Mhm.
jumped in my stomach. I said, "You jump in my stomach one more time," and I said, "You ain't going home. You're going overboard." So he decided maybe he'd be more careful.
What was the food like?
It was good.
It's good.
We lived on sea rations for a while in the PT boats because they didn't get the supplies to us.
Mhm.
I got down to 134 pounds, believe it or not.
What was in the sea rations?
I like the scrambled eggs and bacon.
Like this? Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think because
They
as,
had different things in it, but that was a favorite.
as a student, we went to a
And they had these biscuits
place
as
where
hard
they
as
showed
rocks.
them, and I can remember seeing them, but I can't remember what was in them.
You remember seeing the container?
Uh-huh.
It was kind of like a metal.
It was khaki, kind of.
Kind of
and
like
had little
sardine cans.
pins in it.
Oh, okay. And then you would open it up. Sure, it was preserved. Yeah. We had Ona Marie Lumkel. She was talking about up here at the eggplant here in Blue Rapids. They prepared the scrambled eggs for the
Sea
government.
rations.
Next time you see her, tell her she did a good job.
So back when you were off of the mainland of Japan, you didn't see any of the war damage.
No,
You didn't.
we were 30 miles out. See, we lobbed those shells 30 miles. They're 16-inch shells.
Always to-
There's 3 guns to a turret, and we had 3 turrets, but didn't want to fire a salvo, and they had to wait because it would flip the ship over. Sometimes it felt like he was going to upset. And when it come back to right side up and started on the other way, well, they'd fire another salvo and it'd do the same thing. And they knew how to do that to get their accuracy. And we had 2 seaplanes on the back of the ship. Not on these, on the battleship.
Oh,
And when the planes came back in, the battleship would turn, smooth the water out, and they had a place to land. And they would drop a rope net over, and they had a hook on the airplane that would catch in that rope. And then they'd pull him alongside and then pick him up, put him on deck. One time, he broke a pontoon off, and the pilot just got out of the plane before it went under. But that was quite an operation, both of them. I much preferred the PT boats to the battleship. Like I
and
said,
where was your brother all this time?
he got out. My dad got his back broke, and he got out and was home.
They had a big farm.
I don't know just how long he stayed home, but then he went and he didn't. He had to live on the farm, and there was no place to live, so he just went back and re-enlisted. And it's funny, he went through boot camp second time, and he got the measles.